As South Africa marks Women's Month, the conversation about economic empowerment is moving beyond whether women have access to financial services and towards whether they are actually accumulating wealth. South African women now hold bank accounts at rates approaching those of men, but significant inequalities remain in income, career progression, as well as long-term wealth. UN Women estimates a substantial gender wage gap, while the WTW research has found that South African women reach retirement with roughly 71% of their wealth accumulated by men, despite women living longer on average. That raises a bigger question. If women are participating in the financial system, why aren't they accumulating wealth at the same rate? To speak more about this, we're joined by Denise Nietling, who's from Pay Me Now. Denise, good to have you on the program this afternoon. I guess the first question is, if women have increasingly similar access to bank accounts and financial services as well, why aren't we seeing the same level of equality when it comes to wealth?
Well, thanks, Shankar. First of all, lovely to chat to you guys today about women empowerment and this very, very important topic. You mentioned it in your intro. I mean, the UN Women estimates that there is a 32% monthly gender wage gap between men and women. So therein firstly lies the issue. Men and women don't earn the same, and that's why, yes, they're financially included, like you say, but they're still not financially secure. If you also look at Stats SA brought up a very interesting stat saying that almost 43% of households in South Africa are women run. So now they're already earning less than men, but they've got more mouths to feed because they've got more dependents that is dependent on their salary, on their income to survive and to live. So that's the first issue. They are financially included, but they're not secure because of these gaps in salary and wages, 32%. That leads to, like you mentioned, women retiring with 70% of the wealth accumulated by men despite living longer. So now their retirement fund needs to be stretched longer. They've got less and they've got more mouths to feed. So it's a vicious cycle that keeps on just repeating itself. So the reality looks quite bleak, but there are solutions and they look brighter.
But what does a gender pay gap actually mean over the course of a woman's working life?
Well, if you say if both men and women work the same amount of time, then you're actually supposed to, earn the same amount of money. Let's say you're at the exact same company and you do the same job. Then by retirement age, you've done everything the same. You've saved the same amount, all of that. You're supposed to retire with the same amount. But if you're earning 32% less, there's no way that you can save the amount of money that the other person is saving because that's taking away too much of your disposable income. You cannot live without that money during the course of the month because you need that to survive on a day-to-day basis. So over the course of your life, that it is like it's a snowball. You start and it just becomes like a heavier battle to fight, and at the end, it's just kind of like you're fighting a losing battle. So I think it's the fact that they are already on the back foot in terms of what that salary gap or that 32% causes. It accumulates over time like a snowball.
Yeah. Research also estimates that South African women reach retirement with only 71% of men's accumulated wealth. So what are the biggest drivers behind that gap that we're seeing?
Well, like I said, if you look at the Debt Busters 2026 Money Stress Tracker, they showed that 72% of South Africans report financial stress. However, women's financial concerns are 15% higher than that of men. That can be caused obviously by many different things. One of the things being having more dependents that you need to take care of. Also, if you look at the sectors in which women are largely represented, it is a lot. It's a lower income sector that the women are largely occupying compared to men. So in terms of being able to only save 71% of the accumulated wealth of men, is just purely because you haven't got that disposable income. You haven't got that extra money to put away. And Debt Busters also said that the household debt stands at 62.2% of disposable income. So if that much money of your disposable income is already going to debt, it really leaves no room for saving. So that is also whereas I think where that gap comes in that causes them to only be at a 71% at the accumulated wealth of their male counterparts.
Denise, before we let you go, how significant are motherhood, caregiving and career interruptions in really determining women's lifetime wealth?
Sorry, just repeat the question.
I'm saying, how difficult is it to then gauge against issues around, for instance, childbearing, also preparing for a family as well, for women as they plan their finances?
It's a lot of stress. It goes over into your family life, goes over to your work life, causes productivity levels to go down. It causes you to not be able to give 100% in either one of these areas of your life. Caregiver, career woman, mother, all those. It
Yeah.
causes a lot of stress within your life. But there are, like I said, there are solutions that employers can imply to empower women. If we said earlier they're financially included, but they're financially not financially secure. There are things that you can put in place, certain platforms that you can put in place, like access to earned wages, giving them that access where they can access money during the course of the month to pay for these unexpected costs or to pay for the elevated costs that they have, having less money at the when they get paid, just to cover these, and then they have more breathing room to actually put away money. So I think it causes a lot of stress. And if you look at that stat that I said earlier,
Yeah.
42.6% of South African households are run by women. We need these women to be strong. They are leading tomorrow's or today's youth to become the future. So we need them to be strong. We need them to be secure, so they can really also help secure a better future for our youth moving forward.
Denise Neethling, thank you so much for that perspective and helping us make sense of these issues, and of course, including money issues, as we are still observing Women's Month.